We're on the MVM show. Today we got another guest, Harrison Chang. Thank you, man, for coming.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
It's a privilege and an honor. My voice is a little worn out from the other podcast we just got done, so this one will come out after that. But guys, before we get going, don't forget to check out Eukanuba. We support them, they support us, so we'd like to give them a shout out. And then Heavy Shot for those guys helping us out with ammo this year, and we got some deals in the work with them, so we'll put that out later on the podcast. But anyways, we want to talk about today. I was going to title this, so you guys are going to see the right title. I was going to title this. I forgot my title now.
He's getting old, forgetful.
Yeah. How millennials are changing duck hunting. But me and Thomas realized that he's on the edge of the millennial. I'm at almost the beginning of the millennial. Travis, you're a Generation X,
which is scary.
Oh man,
because I don't feel
scary for you.
Old, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, 3 years from 50, it's like how to get here so fast. So you guys,
Travis, get in the mic.
Age is just
adjust your mic.
Season.
Age is
adjust
just
it where you're
number.
comfortable.
All right, enjoy the
And you're gonna
seasons,
pull
fellas.
out. There we go.
No matter what age you are,
All right.
enjoy it.
So, but Harrison is a Generation Z.
Save the best for last, no?
Yeah. So we're gonna, I guess that'll be how Generation Z, I don't know how you would word that, are changing duck hunting. So millennials, we're all kind of in. Thomas is what, you're 27, and you're 19, Harrison.
Yeah.
Travis, 47,
47.
and I'm 36. So
Like the
So
grandpa.
we got
this
a good
is almost
a decade of
Yeah.
difference between all of us here.
opinions and thoughts, and
Wow.
yeah, it'll be good. I was looking forward to doing this, and glad everybody could be here for this one. But we want to start out, and mainly we're asking Harrison for his viewpoint. Not to put you on the spot or embarrass you, Harrison, but like I think for your age, you're pretty, you're a hard worker, but you're also kind of a little bit above your years. I know we've talked about that, and your teachers kind of told you that too. And
Yeah, I've always been referred to as an old soul.
Yeah, and you hang out with older people
Right.
than you most of the time.
Yeah.
So, but regardless, your age is what you are, and you're in that bracket. So we want to find some things out and let other people know they're listening. Older people, that the generation coming up there is a lot of good people. We get even my age still, even being 36 and Tom's 27, still think that's this group of guys that just care about stupid, crazy pictures and doing dumb stuff like that. And it's not. There is people out there like that, but that's not what we're about. So first off, we want to get kind of your opinion, and then we'll all conversate about it. First off would be etiquette. Like, what's your idea of etiquette as a 19-year-old guy when you're out there in the duck blind or in the marsh?
Well, one of the biggest issues I see is a lot of these younger guys, when I say younger guys, my age, they don't so much respect the older guys that are out there. They refer to them as the old grumpy guys that, has his pond and whatnot. But they don't understand the fact that they've spent the, 20 plus years learning every pond in the Central Valley to hunt the way they do. And they don't understand that. They just see how they shoot birds and they want to shoot birds like them. And they don't respect that at all, which I see that a lot actually out there. Either pushing in on guys or, falling into their spots or trying to beat them to it, following them, a previous weekend and then trying to beat them to their spot. Or, it is all public land, but, you still have that etiquette of, that they were there first and that they wanted to be there first, right? But and then another big thing is working birds. Everyone sees pictures. They want to shoot ducks, and they want to have that big picture of a 5-man limit, but they don't want to put the work in to get there, and they don't want to do it the proper way. They can burn through 3 boxes of shells a day when I think if you're hunting properly, you shouldn't never take more in a box. Sometimes, sometimes for the most
that's
part,
what it should be.
For the most part, you know what I mean?
Be.
Obviously we all have bad days.
Right.
But
we've all shot more than one box, but it should be.
We've all been there.
Take less.
But
it
I feel
happens.
like if you put in your time, you find your spot, and you work birds effectively and call ducks effectively, you should be able to shoot a limited 7 ducks in less than 25 shells. Like, no problem.
Right.
You can go to the plug every time and still have 4 shells left over. So I think that's a big problem. A lot of guys, my age, don't want to work birds. They don't want to call ducks. They don't want to learn how to call ducks. They just want to shoot birds, and
or shoot at them.
Shoot at them, right? And shooting people swing birds, you know, they don't even. And the sad part is,
about this
right?
guy.
And the sad part is they don't even notice it. You know, a duck came over me. You know, I shot at it. I had fair game to that. Well, they didn't pay attention to the fact that the guy 200 yards to the south of them was working that bird for the last 2 hours. You know, or working ducks for the last 2 hours. Right? You know what I mean?
Didn't even know he was there.
Right. Or even if he did know he was there, he didn't take the time to realize that bird had been working him. You can hear him calling. That duck might have been making that 100-yard swing and coming back at him. But instead of letting that bird go to that guy that's been working for it and let him kill it in the decoys, he takes a shot at it, at 50, 60 yards. So
yeah,
that's the thing. That's a big issue I see in my generation.
And you're only 19. You're saying that,
right?
From the standpoint of everybody, you're the one that's causing all the problems.
I know, right?
Yeah. You're sky busting. You're out there.
That's why I don't hunt with anyone my age. Honestly,
who you hunt with does associate.
Right.
What
and
happens.
That's also how I was taught. That's a big thing, is passing on that proper etiquette down the line. My parents or my family never duck hunted, but a friend that I went to school with, her dad, he knew that I hunted. I grew up in a small town. Everyone knows everybody. He knew that I wanted to hunt, so he came up to me, and I was going into 5th grade, I think, and said, "Hey, you want to go duck hunting this year?" So it was going back to school. So he took me dove hunting in September, and we shot doves a handful of times, and then he got me into duck hunting, and I've been broke ever since.
Yeah,
that's the truth.
And you were how old, Travis, when you first started duck hunting?
I started at 9. My uncle
9
took me out at 9 and hunted for a few
so
years.
How old were you in 5th grade? About 10?
Well, you start school when you're about
Probably
5.
like
About 9. You're about 9 because Vivian's 11 and she's going into 6. So 9
Probably
or
10 or 11, depending on your birthday.
Yeah.
So about that same age.
Right. Yeah. I was still couldn't walk in most of the ponds.
Yeah.
But yeah, and he was an older guy. He was, I don't know, he was definitely probably in his 40s or early 40s when he got me
older
into
guy
it.
in his 40s.
He might not have been that old, Harrison. He might have seen that old. And the reason I say that is if he had a daughter your age, he either started really late or you just thought he looked old. I mean, how old do I look? He's like, oh, you look like you're 80.
I don't know. You got some gray hair.
I do have a lot of gray hair.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Wisdom.
It's so funny to hear someone say that. Like you say it without even thinking.
He was old.
Yeah, like it's so crazy that.
He said older guy.
Yeah, I know. We're just harassing him.
Older than my generation.
Yeah.
Older than the high school generation of hunting.
Yeah, right.
And that was a huge thing he always taught me, was calling ducks, working ducks, and shooting them in the decoys. So, I mean, I always used to get aggravated my first few times out. I'd see birds.
You wanted to shoot.
Right. And I didn't know any different the first few times out, and I'm glad that he was there to discipline me. I mean, obviously I couldn't have hunted by myself that young anyhow, but I'm glad that someone like that was there, to discipline me and hold me back.
Yeah.
And teach me the correct, what I believe is the correct way.
And you know what? In all reality, again, I'll say this, it started at home for you. Because if your parents wouldn't have taught you to have respect for your elders.
Right.
I mean, like you said, he would have had to discipline you. Maybe he said, hey, don't do that next time.
Right.
Whatever he said, you had enough respect taught at home that you listen to what he says even if you don't like it.
Right, exactly. And then that was a big thing. And the way my parents are is, when he picked me up to take me hunting, they gave him permission. If I mess up, knock me in the back of the head. It was that kind of deal. But
and that's good to hear though, because even at your age, there's people think that no one's disciplined anymore. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's pretty much gone. It's still there. It's just few and far between.
Right, and it's hard. I think it's hard to tell, getting worse and worse as the generations go on. But maybe more so just those handful of people make it look worse.
Yeah,
those handful of,
because those are the loud ones.
A lot of
right,
times,
exactly.
You
Those
know?
are the loudmouthy ones out there doing the things you shouldn't be doing. So
yeah. So on respect for the sport, I mean, what can you say about that? How would you define that on respect for the sport of waterfowling?
I think the biggest thing is not wanting. Obviously, we all want to shoot ducks. We all want to harvest ducks. But the sport of actually hunting, you still enjoy the days you went out there. And it's
not killing, it's hunting.
Right, and you stomped 200 yards through the mud and drug all your gear out there and you never even pulled the trigger. You still enjoy those days. You still appreciate those days.
Yeah.
And I think that's
especially looking back.
right.
Sometimes I can't lie. In the moment, you're just like,
Oh, you're steaming mad.
yeah,
and
like
you
what in the
wanna-
world?
yeah.
But looking back, you're like, I would rather be there right now doing that
Right.
than I would just be sitting here at work right now. Or,
exactly.
you know.
Yeah, and I think it's
Oh.
very complimentary that you realize what you're doing and appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? Going out there, just being out there.
Right.
You know, it's not just about killing ducks for somebody his age, because I think sometimes that's the perception. They just go out there just to kill. You know, they have they just want to shoot. They just
Right.
want to kill stuff.
Exactly.
You know, and not enjoy nature and what's out there. I mean, do I want to harvest ducks? Of course. Every time I go, that's the goal. That's why I go.
right.
But there's so many things you see out there. You know, the scenery, different birds. You know, different things that you're not going to see sitting at home on the couch. And his generation is known for like, okay, video gamers, all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's just about killing, and to see that is not, you know, a priority for somebody his age is really something that I compliment.
Right. And honestly, that's one of my lead. I mean, we all obviously want to shoot ducks. We enjoy shooting ducks, but I really enjoy seeing birds, working birds, calling ducks. That's the joy of me. You know, setting your decoys. You know, really hunting. And honestly, even since I was just 16 when I could start hunting by myself, I took, you know, a handful of kids from school, or even took, you know, my sister, you know, 5-6 years older than me, took her friends out or whatever, and just calling ducks. I never even touched my gun. You know, I had no problem going out there and never pulling the trigger. That was, you know, the big joy for me was calling birds, watching them react to the call, you know, turn into the decoys. And then, you know, if they missed, I mean, so be it. You know, obviously you wanted to kill a duck, but or else you wouldn't be there.
Yeah.
But that's the joy of it for me, honestly. And I think that's a huge respect for the sport, is really the hunting aspect of it.
Yeah.
You know, appreciating everything out there rather than just pulling the trigger.
Yeah. It is.
There is a lot to it. People think, oh, you just go out there and shoot a bird, blah, blah, blah. It's like, there's a lot more to it than that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not only is it location, but it's everything you're hunting. First of all, you can't be seen. You know, the calls, the sounds that you make to attract the birds, the way you lay out your decoys, how many or how few, you know, there's all these different things, weather conditions.
Right. And
That's
there's
all goes into
so
hunting.
many variables that change that every single day.
Every
you know?
single time.
You can go to one spot and absolutely smoke them one way, and then the next weekend, you know, it doesn't work. Wind changes, and birds change throughout the year.
Right.
You know, either the variety, you know, of the species of bird, or, you know, obviously we all know birds get educated throughout the year.
Right.
Severely, especially, you know, around here hunting public land.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Really bad.
Definitely.
Possibly within one hunt day.
oh,
It could totally change everything.
100%. Everyone knows that, you know, Sundays or even Saturday afternoons are not as good as Saturday mornings.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the bird averages from Saturday to Sunday, it's probably like 50%.
Drastic. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
if not.
Maybe a third.
Right. Right. If not more.
Yeah.
They learn that quick.
Right.
Yeah, so let's jump into another topic. This is one that I think is kind of dying off now, is the social media complaints and gripes. I'm not saying that people aren't still putting stupid stuff on social media, but I just think, I mean, I guess if you consider YouTube, like we have the YouTube channel, Mid Valley Mercenaries, so that is considered as social media, but I'm talking more like Instagram, Facebook. Now there's TikTok's a huge one.
Right.
So, like, I'm not saying that people still won't put offensive stuff on there and kind of disrespecting the bird or the animal or whatever. I just don't think it's big of as a spotlight, because there was a window there. It was really bad.
Right.
Like, just people putting stupid stuff. But, like, what's your take on social media and some of the things that you can see on there? I mean, do you think, well, that's their own business, they can post what they want? Which I feel like that's probably how you feel. Like, okay, yeah, that's stupid. You shouldn't do that. But what's it my business?
Well,
You know?
I mean, and at some point it does become my business, because it makes us look bad. Like you're talking about, it makes my generation look bad.
Yeah.
I get
Well, duck hunters or any kind
right.
of hunter as a
Even-
whole.
yeah, right, exactly.
True.
And even worse so in the hunting world, you know, when I show up at a refuge and I get out of my truck and they look at you like, oh, look at this, you know, kid coming out here. You know.
Instantly, you're,
I
you're
always get those
stereotyped.
looks.
You're stereotyped right away.
100% every
Yeah.
time. You know, that, oh, look at like this.
I
He
didn't
doesn't
think
know
about
what he's
that.
doing.
Yeah.
All the time.
Really?
I get those, especially from like, you know, the really older guys.
Huh. I never
All
even
the
thought
time.
about that, honestly.
Happens all the time.
Have you had anything said to you before, or people saying stuff?
A handful of times, I'll, when you go, depending on what refuge you're at, if if it's assigned blinds and I pick a blind and, they might say something as in, oh, you don't know how to hunt that blind, or you don't know anything about it. I've been hunting here for 30 years. Well, They don't know that I've been hunting there for, going on 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I, know a lot of these refuges from the back of my hand by learning them myself. That's another huge thing in my generation is they want to know everything. I get phone calls all the time. Exactly. They don't want to put the work in. They don't want those days where you don't pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where I've had so many days where I go out there and a lot of, especially on, free roam, and you guys know just as well, you go out there and you see where the birds are going.
Mm-hmm.
You see guys shooting them, or you can hear them,
Mm-hmm.
or where they're going and you were in the wrong spot. You might have never pulled the trigger that day.
Yeah.
But you learn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
you knew where to be next week.
Right. And depending on the wind conditions, that it's, a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And you put that, in your book of skills that you,
Yeah.
right? And it just keeps building over the years.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're learning by experience, not taking somebody else's, Yeah.
Right. And
Word
people
for
get
it.
offended when they call me, I'll get a call. Hey, how'd you do Saturday? Oh, I did, pretty well. Shot a hit, a few mallards, blah, blah, blah. And then, oh, where'd you go? I'll tell them the refuge, but then, oh, where do you think I should go? Well, I mean,
You're like, I plan on going back there.
really,
and you know what I'm saying?
I mean, I'm all for helping other people out.
Yeah.
It really depends who it is,
Yeah.
If you were to call me, I'd tell you
Mhm.
because I know how you guys are.
Mhm.
But, some kids, as has happened before, some kids I go to school with that just started hunting and they just, right, like we were saying, just want to shoot stuff.
Yeah.
And where do I go? I'm not going to tell them because I know exactly what's going to happen. They're going to blow that spot out and they're not going to respect it. And they're not,
Leave shells all over the place and this and that.
and even just educating birds.
Oh,
yeah.
Like we're talking about shooting at swing birds and everything. You just educated that bird, times 10 every time you shoot at it.
Right.
And that's a fine line there because that has always been the complaint from one side of the table is, why aren't you guys willing to help these people out? Like, well, we are helping out. We're putting out, putting out stuff about gear. You're putting out tactics and tips,
Right.
and not that we have it all figured out because we surely don't. We're literally going to learn every time we
You're never
hunt
not going to know
till we
everything.
die.
Right.
Always.
Always.
We
Every
might get a
single
little
trip.
better at it.
Right.
Like, okay, we won't mess up as bad, or we'll play this with the weather this way. We don't hunt this refuge when the wind's blowing this way. But then the other side is like, why won't you help us out? You don't want to help the next generation. It's like you said, yes, we do.
You're
But-
helping them by not telling them, I feel like.
Yes,
Yeah,
because
and let them
spend your
experience
time
it.
out there.
The experience is
Right.
the best teacher.
Exactly. Teach them the skills,
How to
how to hunt,
scout,
and
how
then
to
they
hunt.
can use those skills. It's just tools in their tool bag to get the job done, right?
And that's the thing about what social media has done is it has taught people, not just in duck hunting, but me and my dad were talking about this. Was that on the podcast we were talking about that? How the way the internet is now, Google, YouTube, just the web search that you can learn stuff. Guy that don't know anything about elk hunting or duck hunting can type in there, how to duck hunt, how to elk hunt.
And there's millions of videos.
Unlimited, you'll never be able to watch them all.
When I
Whereas
was
before,
right.
my dad went out there and talking about elk hunting, and he said, I had no clue what I was doing. There was nothing I could research. He goes, I just had to go out there and learn,
I mean, that's how I partially learned to hunt. Not right. Like we were talking about, I didn't learn the spots that I go to, on there, but you learn the skills, learning different decoy tactics and the wind and, learning how to hide, especially learning how to blow a duck call, teaching
Yeah, that's
yourself.
what I was gonna say. I mean, even as an older person, I would say older person compared to you.
Right.
Things to learn how to duck call is by watching videos. Which was when I was your age, none of that was available.
Right.
I mean, you might find an old VHS tape of some
Like the
guy.
old maybe Buck Gardner or,
Yeah, like some
Phil
really old
Robertson,
stuff.
R&T.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
The R&T stuff.
But the thing is with you, when you're wanting to do something, again, time spent, you practice all the time, not just, okay, I'm showing up on the opening day, I'm going to go out there and blow my call. That's why I tried to tell guys, I'm like,
yeah.
don't practice out here. They're like, oh, you just too serious about calling solo. Not necessarily. If you weren't willing to put the time in this whole summer and the whole off season to try to get better, to better yourself,
Right.
don't expect you to come out and hunt with me, not knowing how to blow the duck call and practice on opening day or in the dead December when birds are already smart anyways.
Because I probably did
That's
that
where I
to
get-
you. You know what I'm saying? When you first started, like, so at times I wouldn't even
You
like tell you,
did.
don't call.
No, you wouldn't let me call.
You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't even let you call.
You wouldn't let me call.
And people
but
get so offended by that. I've taken people,
know.
and they,
No,
they
they
pull out
really
the call,
do.
and I'll literally tell them, put it away, like right now. oh, dude, no, put it away.
Right.
I mean, and not only are you not helping yourself in that specific situation, you're educating birds again.
Right.
When they learn the calls and they learn it, that bad, they obviously know it's fake.
Mm-hmm.
You're just educating them further and further every single time.
And what that would do to me, Travis, it didn't really make me mad at you.
I'm sure it irritated you though.
Well, it irritated me. But you know what it did? It put a drive in me to learn how to do it and get good. And I remember the first time that you never said nothing. I was blowing it. And I was waiting for you to yell at me. And you never said nothing. I was like, okay, I'm getting better. And you know what? As long as I've been duck hunting longer now. No, I'm not saying a long time. But I still practice through the whole off season blowing
My
the call.
calls
trying
are
to get
sitting in
better.
my center console on my truck right
Exactly. That, and so when people get mad about, oh, why you not, like, you're too serious about it, you're blowing it. Guys I know, good friends I know. And it's like, guys, listen, I don't think I'm better than you. I don't think you can't blow. I don't think you can't be successful going out into the blind, blowing your own duck call your own way. I know they can.
now. Right.
But like if we're hunting together and you haven't spent no time and invested time getting good at something, then, practice in the off season. Get better at it. It's not a black mark on you.
Right.
You know?
I blow Laird's calls, and I probably go through half a dozen of reads a year, just in one call.
Wearing them out.
Right. And even during the summer, I'll probably blow out 1 or 2 reads. I mean, that's like you were saying, you just practice whenever, all the time.
And you're a really good caller, by the way. We had a really fun trip. If you guys listen to this, want to watch a pretty cool duck hunt, me and Harrison went to Nebraska with High Prairie Sportsman and had a really good time. But you were even doing kind of teal calls with your mallard call.
Right. And I've learned that a lot. I found that pretty successful around here, especially in California.
Yeah.
But mainly for cinnamon teal,
Mm-hmm.
because we don't have too many blue wings, but,
Right.
a hen cinnamon.
Yeah. No, and it sounded really good. And that's the thing is you put your time in, you're 19 years old, but you put your time in and you want to learn. And I think that we could roll right into that. Kind of brings in passion for it. Kind of get harassed with some of our buddies. Oh, passion, I'm passionate.
Right.
It's like, well, it's just a term defining like something that you really like. I get really excited. We all get excited about talking about duck hunting because we actually really love it.
When you genuinely care about it.
Yeah. So we almost overwrite each other talking about it because that's how excited we are. But what would describe your passion for duck hunting, like how you would describe it? And why? Like, why? I mean, what?
And let me interject.
Tell me why you like that so much. Like,
Yeah.
it's duck hunting. It's just a bird. I mean,
Right.
what do you?
And let me interject one thing. Is there a single day that passes by that you don't at least one time think about duck hunting? Because at my age, I think there's not a single day that
Really?
at some point that I don't think about duck hunting.
You're right. And
Well,
probably...
Every time you walk in your garage, you have bird mounts.
Right.
So.
That's
I
true,
walk
but-
in my front door and I have 6 ducks in my living room. Now that I live by myself, I can put them wherever I want.
Yeah. Nice.
I have one over the fridge, one over the coffee table.
Mhm.
So, but I see ducks a lot at work too. So, especially this time of year, they're still
In the
Watching-
canals.
they're still
and-
paired up and laying eggs right now.
Wheat fields.
Right, and the corn and a lot of our lagoons and just
Mhm.
I see them all the time, so I think about it every day. I see honkers in the lagoon and I think about it all the time.
How would you describe it though? I mean, like, what's in you? What caused that you like that so much? I mean, I feel like do you feel like you're passionate about duck hunting?
100%. Back to the whole calling thing. That's the biggest passion for myself. Is like you were talking about learning the time to blow a call and not even blowing it. We can all sit here and I can blow a full contest routine, a full routine, but that doesn't teach you truly how to call ducks. Just because you can blow the call and make those sounds does not mean you can call ducks.
Right.
Because you got to learn to read the birds, and that takes a long. When I first started, I could call really, really well. I practiced every single day. I could call really well when I was probably 10 to 12 years old. But I still couldn't call ducks. I'd go out there and you don't know what to blow when. You can't read the birds, how they, how they're reacting to what you're blowing, depending on, your decoys and pulling a jerk cord and all that. So that's my biggest passion is learning to call ducks, work birds, and really trying to shoot them as close as you can. And as you know, and all you guys know, I've been shooting a 20 gauge or sub gauge for the last, going on almost 3 seasons now, intermittent. The last 2 seasons solely just a 20 gauge, and then even
Didn't you buy another?
I bought a 28 gauge.
Right, but no. Well, we'll come back to that. But the Browning, you got a Browning Satori. I mean, not Brownings. Yeah, don't you have a Browning Satori?
Not a 20 gauge, no. I have.
No, but your 12. What's your 12?
My 12 was a Browning Maxis.
Maxis.
I
that's
bought
right.
it, which was the biggest mistake. Not
Oh,
that
really?
not that I don't like the gun. I love the gun.
But because it's a 12.
Right.
Really?
I mean, it's nice to have one because when we're shooting snow geese, I still shoot a 12. It's just more ethical. But I bought it, and I shot it for like, not even a season, half a season. And then just completely fell in love with the whole 20 gauge thing. My last junior hunt, I had, my hunting partner, we I hunt that club, and we had this whole thing. Oh, I have my youth model 20 gauge pump that I had that was my first shotgun. And I said, dude, I want to shoot one duck with this thing. I've never shot it at a duck. And it's a 24-inch barrel, youth stock. So I brought it out there with, I brought my 12 gauge also because I'm going to only shoot it a couple times. And this first, dozen widgeon locked in the decoys, and, I pulled it and bang, bang, doubled.
Nice.
And then, 6 snow geese rolled in. We killed all 6 of them, and I tripled.
With that 20?
With a 20. I mean,
Nice.
just shot back then it was, 2 sprig, killed both my bulls, and I mean, was hammering them. And the noise difference is unbelievable, and we've talked about this forever. It's especially when you're on a club where there's not so much shooting, but even on the refuge, you got birds working, and in the afternoon birds will start working in, and there'll be a few dozen birds around you, but that one commits. You shoot that one bird, and those birds are blown out. You don't see another bird for another 45 minutes or an hour. With a 20 gauge, I've noticed, I shoot that bird, and those other ducks that are 200 yards up there don't even notice at all. And it's just, I don't know, it's more sportsman-like, I feel. I know that I can ethically shoot a 20 gauge probably, I've shot snow geese up at 50 yards with it. I've shot a bull sprig at, 45, 50 yards. I have before. I don't prefer to.
Right, yeah.
And I know it's ethical to that distance, but it does limit you to a certain factor, And it's not even so much of killing them, and people tell me, oh, it's not ethical, you're going to cripple birds. I don't believe so, because, you've done the pattern testing too. And I believe that a 20 gauge pattern is just the center of a 12 gauge pattern.
Right.
You're putting less shot out there. Yeah. It's harder to hit them, but I feel like when you hit them, I kill them just as good, if not better. I feel like with my 20 gauge, I shoot 10 times better, 100 times better than I do with my 12 gauge.
Focus, you think, or just?
The gun fits me better, honestly, but there's zero recoil.
Right.
My ears don't hurt. I do try to wear hearing protection now, but you don't even hear it go off. I hear the bolt clack. It doesn't hurt the dog's ears. Yeah, that's a big thing. You see older dogs, 12, 13 years old.
They're deaf.
They're deaf because they've had 12 gauge shells shot over their head their whole life.
I worry about that with Rocky too. Because I know there's a few times it's had to blow in his ears.
Right. I mean, obviously, we all try. You try to be as careful as you can. You don't want to shoot over the dog.
Right.
You don't want to, all that. But it still happens. It's going to happen eventually.
Yeah.
But that was a big thing a couple of years ago. I started shooting sub gauges, and even 2 seasons ago, opening day, I shot a 410 over under and shot a limit of ducks with it.
Nice.
And, people don't believe me, but when you have them feet down at 15 yards, you just got to be on them.
Well, here's the thing. This is what people don't understand. I just had a conversation a couple of days with somebody that they were disagreeing with me. I was like, whatever. You can wound a duck just as good at 15 yards as you can at 40 yards.
Right. You still have to be on them. And it's almost even harder at a certain point because your pattern's even tighter.
Yes.
Especially a 410.
Even if you have a modified choke or an improved cylinder.
Right. This over-under 410 is a fixed...
full?
No, it's fixed, modified, and improved modified.
Okay.
So but I mean... At 30
That's
yards,
perfect, actually.
At 30 yards, it's as big as a soda can. I mean, there's only 3/8 of an ounce of shot in it.
Yeah.
There's nothing there. It's a pinch of salt, really.
Yeah.
So, I mean, honestly, I don't shoot that a lot. That's what I shoot for pheasants. That's all I shot for the last 2 years is for pheasants.
Yeah.
And then this past year, I bought a 28 gauge, and it's just really fun. I don't shoot it every day. My 20 gauge Benelli is my day in, day out gun. But I have a prettier wood, 28 gauge, and I love shooting it.
Oh, that was nice. It almost felt like a toy gun.
It
so
does.
Small.
I mean, it's like
it's crazy.
4 pounds or something. I don't know.
I want to get that gun, actually. Work ethic. We kind of talked about that a little bit at the beginning, talking about being able to work and get out there and pay your dues and stuff. But I mean, what does that mean to you? Work ethic?
I think it all starts, really young. Not even so much hunting, as in when I was I don't even know. Since I could walk, my dad's had me, with him doing everything, working on the boat, working on the truck, anything and everything, mowing the lawn, So I think that respect of work ethic comes from home, really, or being younger, or influenced by anybody, really. But I think it starts not just hunting. So you have that respect of the work has to be done before you get your reward, I was never handed anything. I was never allowed to have video games, never had a TV, any of that. So a lot of my friends called me crazy, and my dad was, not the nicest person to them or whatever, or they thought so. And even when I was younger, through high school, I probably right until high school, I butted heads with my dad a lot because it was, always, my friends were out playing or whatever, and I'd be helping him work in the garage or, welding on something or whatnot. But, we butted heads a lot about that. And even sometimes my mom would get in and tell him, oh, you're being too hard on him. But I appreciate it so much now, as in everything that he's taught me, and going to the whole duck hunting thing, it all applies from any work, really. I had no problem putting the 100 pounds of gear on your back and marching through the mud. One of the best stories that I have from that is the guy that got me into duck hunting, we were partners on a blind, not partners, there was like 7 of us on a floating blind on one of the lakes. And this particular lake, they drop water very rapidly with very little notice. So our blind that we set one week was sitting like 15 feet of water. We come back like 10 days later, and it's like 3/4 of a mile from water on a mud flat. So we shoved, we're really hunting honkers at that point on that lake. So we shoved the boat up on the mud, and we're carrying full bodies and shells and silhouettes, and he was shotguns and your blind bag. So you got. And we were walking through mud up, past your knee. It was the most miserable thing ever. Literally 3/4 of a mile. And he was an older guy. I really thought he was going to have a heart attack. I know. If you ask him till this day, he said that's the closest he's been to dying. And it was just miserable. And it was early season honker.
Oh, you're just sweating your tail.
Right. It was, 95. It was like 90 degrees at 4 a.m, right?
Yeah, for the September,
Literally.
right? It's first week of September. It's still smoking hot here.
Yeah, so it was a horrible experience. We got out there, and we had this new guy with us that's never hunted before, even more.
And thinking he's never going to hunt again.
Even more green than me.
Oh.
And I was still, I don't even know, 11 or 12 or whatever. And we got out there, and we probably called it only 5 bunches of birds, and the guys next to us were just laying into them. We'd watch a group of 10 honkers go in, and all 10 of them would die.
Jeez.
And we had a couple groups locked up, and that newer guy was shoving his barrel out of the blind and moving the covers around and everything. So that was probably a big experience that taught work.
Yeah.
So we never pulled the trigger that day at all. And we probably put in like 6 hours of work for
nothing,
for 3 hours of hunting,
Yeah.
But
Jeez.
and that still applies to now, especially refuge hunting. People give me trash all the time about walking, 3 miles to go, hunt.
Yeah, away from everybody.
Right, and a huge thing, even before I started duck hunting, my dad had me hunting. We hunted dove a lot. He hunts upland a lot, and we hunted dove on the refuges. And there's one by my house that they locked like one of the first gates. So to some of those fields in the back where we'd kill them really good, it's a 2.5 mile bike ride one way. That's riding a bike.
Yeah.
And so it was
Yeah.
right. And
Still take time.
I did that like every day after school hunting doves.
That's crazy. She's going to let this cat in. Do not. She's got a cat coming in here, folks. That cat. Unbelievable. Well, we'll kind of wrap it up here. It might take a second, but let's talk about, we kind of did at the beginning a little bit, but your generation. What do you see most people your age doing right now? And we're not trying to down them. I mean, I know there's a lot of good guys out there and good people out there, even girls that are in duck hunting.
Right.
I feel like I see a lot more females and women into duck hunting now, and I have no issues. There's one up north we see a lot, and she's a hard worker. She gets there early and she hunts, and she's really smart about it. Actually, you've did a couple of her birds for her, haven't you?
Yeah.
I think no matter what the perception is of the younger generation, they are the younger generation. They are the next generation.
They are, no matter
of
what
duck
you
hunters.
think.
No matter what your perception of them,
Yeah.
they're the next generation that's going to be hunting.
Yeah.
And so
Either help them out and be the example, or
Right.
because they're here and they're here to stay. You know
Even
what I'm saying?
those rough ones you see, the ones that give us a bad rap on the refuge, You know, I think when the older generation sees them, even when I see them, you know, I don't want to associate with them at all because I'm not like that. But I think if the older generation were to try to, you know, help change that and show them the correct way, you know, obviously it's very frustrating and none of us really want to deal with it or hunt around them. But maybe trying to influence them a little bit, you know, to teach them the correct way or, you know.
And how do you, from your perspective as 19 years old, how do you think someone like myself, 36 years old, could do that? I mean, they obviously got to have an open mind. You can't just walk up to Joe Blow but I mean, there's been times that guys at Refuge, younger guys, have asked me stuff, and I'm like, yeah, trying to tell them what I can. I mean, I'm not sitting here go this blind because I don't even know myself.
Right.
But it's like, you know, you're trying to like help them if they ask you, but like those guys that cause the issues or the problems, it's like, how can you help somebody like that? You know?
I think you guys are doing a fantastic job now, as in with the whole YouTube thing. You know, watching the correct people on YouTube. There's some of those channels that I don't so much care for. You know, the younger guys that are doing crazy stuff. But you know, watching the YouTube videos of you guys and doing it the ethical way. You know, some people might say that we shoot too high or whatever. Well, 40 yards is sky busting. You know? Right. I think 40 yards obviously we don't want to shoot like that, you know. Yeah. Clearly the goal is to shoot them in the decoys. But if a bull sprig's locked up on that tough afternoon in November at 40 yards, you know,
he going down.
But if you I think if you can hit that bird 8 out of 10 times, you know, then that's an ethical shot for you. Everyone's is different, you know. If you don't do it a lot, then you know that's different.
Yeah.
But I don't know, just influencing them, I guess. Talking to them.
I think there's kind of a problem on both sides. I think there's
guys
that's been hunting for a long time that are older and kind of crusty, and then there's some younger guys that want something, are looking for something fun or whatever to do, and they're getting into it, or however it works. They got a buddy or something, this or that. And on the one part, I think a lot of times the younger guys don't want to ask the older guys, and the older guys don't really want to help the younger guys either.
Right.
You understand?
And I think I got lucky because not even just that guy that got me into it, his whole friend group and different guys I started hunting with, there was a lot of older guys that influenced me a lot. And, you know, the older generation. One of the guys that I hunted with, there was the guy that got me into it, a couple of his very best friends he's a state champion duck caller. Like, he won state almost every single year. And he's gone back to Stuttgart and everything, and they can hunt ducks. And I was lucky enough to be influenced by them, you know. So I think that was also part of triggered the whole calling thing, because hunting with him, he's, state champion and has, placed at nationals blowing a honker call and spec calls and, really obviously a mallard call. So hearing that, when I first got into duck hunting and sitting there in the blind and hearing him, hammer down on a honker call was just cool. Incredible. Yeah. Like unbelievable. You don't even, undescribable really. Right. I'll never be able to do that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I think though, like if guys, like you said, it goes back to attitude. If the younger guys really wanted to learn or get better or whatever, if you might run across some guys that won't help you out at all, but I think for a lot of times, most part, if you did need some help and you wanted to ask some of the older guys, I think if you did it the right way, a lot of guys would help.
Exactly, and that's the thing is you got to be careful on painting a bad picture for yourself before asking for help.
Right.
Because if you're that kid in the pond over, sky busting at birds and,
screaming
like,
on the call that you never
don't
even know what
exactly.
you're doing.
Or, they get bored during the day and they start shooting coots and leaving them in the toolies, that kind of stuff, just reckless stuff.
Yeah.
That's going to, that's obviously going to paint a pretty bad picture for yourself and no one's ever going to want to help you.
Yeah.
Right.
So I feel like if you're just respectful and, mindful of that older generation, I feel like, 90% of them are going to be willing to help you.
Right.
And it's gonna take everybody, not just us, to do that, because I actually feel bad. There's a lot of people that email a lot of times, like they're not trying to be like get a spot. They're young guys and they're legitimately like, I don't know how to duck hunt, like how do I go get a light? Like they want to hunt and they have no one to help them.
Right.
But I get that so much. It's like, I can't do that. Like I can try to tell them what I can tell them, but I can't take all these new people. That's kind of an avenue that's happened with this channel is that I get that filtered a lot that way because I am trying to help. But it's like I almost get overwhelmed because I want to help them. I'm like, I don't, I
Right,
could
but
spend,
you can't individually help.
dude, I
every
could
single
spend
one of them.
hours doing emails with these people, like, and I want to legitimately help them, and I can't answer every, and I actually feel bad about it. But it's like what it's going to take, like Thomas was talking, is talking to people at the refuge that you're closest to. If that's where you hunt, you're just going to have to make friends the best you can.
Another huge thing that I didn't mention earlier is there's a lot of programs in California. Like California Waterfowl has a ton of youth programs. You know, the youth camps and summer camps, which I'm actually supposed to help go to some of those. Even though they do women hunts and youth hunts, and I'm supposed to guide those this year, and they do calling seminars and stuff like that. So that's another huge opportunity. You know, if it's harder if you're a male and older than 18 to do that, but there for the younger guys, there's a lot of opportunity out there, and it requires nothing. You just sign up and that's it. That's literally it. There's some of them they'll put you through the hunter safety and everything, which is anyone can get a hunter safety, especially right now.
Right,
With
you can do it online now.
Right, everything with the whole COVID thing
Doing
happening right now.
videos, yeah.
It's all online.
Wow.
So if to the older guy or the younger guys listening, do that right now. I think. Get it pretty quick. You don't have to go.
You can sit in your home on your computer
Even
and
if
do
you
it.
can't drive, no one has to take you to go take the test. You can do it right now. You can sign up for all those special hunts. There's hundreds and hundreds of youth hunts for free in California through DFW.
And I'm sure
and
if
Cal
you're listening in
Waterfowl.
some other state, they're like that too. I know they're like that.
Oh, I know. I'm sure
They definitely want to help the youth out for sure.
We got lucky with California. I think with more so of effective public land that we have. The managed public land and everything, and all the programs that DFW does. Is I've been on tons and tons of DFW hunts. Like even growing up, you can put in with a group of people. Like my dad and I would always put in, but it's youth required or youth only. There was some youth only where I could only shoot. Even dove hunts, pheasant hunts. They do deer hunts, turkey, and obviously waterfowl. But just to get into it and be around the correct people and get that influence of the whole sport of hunting in general. I think that's a really good way to get into it.
That is. Actually, I appreciate you bringing that up because I don't think I've ever mentioned that before.
And it's all free.
Yeah,
In
it's all free.
Everything's
I might even have to do a video on that because that is such a big question for the last couple of years. I don't really say nothing about it, but that email's constantly like that. I'm like, man, what can I tell them if there's nowhere around them to help them out? But that's just go to that website and it's literally, they will do it for you because they know you don't know anything
And when you
about
apply for the hunts, you literally you click on the hunts you want to apply for. You can apply for a dozen hunts at a time. I've been drawn for dove hunts opening day a lot of times. A lot of the successful dove hunts I've been on are all public land, and they're all drawn through DFW. So
I think that website's dfw.gov, right? That they can go check out.
So yeah.
And just type
Any
in
general Google search will.
and type your state in and youth hunts, or because if you're people are listening all over the United States to this, even some out of country.
Right.
Just type that in and search it, and you'll be able to find your local, which you can go.
And on top of that, they do a lot of handicap hunts too.
Yes.
So not only just
And vet hunts.
Right.
If you're a vet too.
Right, exactly.
Because here's the thing: there is older guys that want to get into it. There's guys in their 20s, 30s, sometimes even 40s that haven't done it and want to get into it.
Right.
And of course, even you start once you leave the window of 10 to 14, where people actually really want to help you, and you're older, people
It's
are
harder.
Yeah, it actually is harder for them. But you could get into stuff like that.
Yeah, they do.
too.
They do a lot of those hunts, women hunts, and veteran hunts, and all that stuff. So,
What were you gonna say, Travis? You were gonna say something earlier. You forgot.
That's what happens when you get older. You
That's
get
what
gray
you're
hairs
forced
kicking
out,
in, you know
man.
what I'm saying?
Generation X. We don't remember.
but
Well, good thing you don't know how to. You still know how to identify birds.
One of the ladies that's in charge of a lot of the work crew in the summer at the duck club that I'm getting friends with, she actually does a lot of that stuff with cow waterfowl and guiding the women hunts and everything. So I tried guiding before, but they want you to be 21 to guide. But last year I was supposed to go up and end up getting canceled. But this year I'm going to go up and do a lot of the calling, tutorials or seminars.
Yeah.
Or they do bird cleaning. They do everything because a lot they take a lot of those, even the junior hunts and the junior camps they have. It's people that have never even picked up a shotgun, don't know anything
That's
at
awesome.
all. Zero. So I think that'll be
good
pretty cool
programs,
this year.
man.
Yeah, maybe we can get together and do something.
Yeah, that would be actually really awesome. Let me know.
Yeah, there's so many programs that are always looking for volunteers and stuff too.
Yeah.
So even the older guys or experienced people listening, if you want to help out the younger generation, look into some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Even
Because, I mean, we got to do our part to make that better. If we can't sit around and complain about it and then
Right.
not involve
and
ourselves.
I'm talking like as if I'm really
45,
old,
yeah.
right? But even when I was just 16, I have an English pointer, and I went and ran my dog for the junior hunts all the time for pheasants,
That'd be a blast.
all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about getting Rocky out there and stuff. But I've even not even through DFW, there's a couple organizations that like one of them is Stockton Sportsman's Club.
Mm-hmm.
That's for any junior hunts free.
I didn't know that.
Any,
Wow.
on Saturday, Sunday, any day of the week actually, but Saturday, Sunday, Wednesday are plant days. So I grew up hunting there a lot too. So if anyone around here,
Yeah, I didn't know that. So we could take him out there,
Right.
and I could take Rocky out there just for training, and they let the kids shoot.
any juniors hunt
Is
for
it-
free.
Okay, so this year it changed in California to 16.
It changed back.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, my daughter, she's 16.
So what? 4 years ago they changed it to 18.
Yes.
Yeah,
And then now they're going back to 16.
Yes.
yeah.
Because I remember I barely made it, and I was
Yeah.
able to.
So did Talon,
Yeah, Talon was able
or
to
3
hunt
years ago, or whatever it was.
until he was 18.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I wasn't. I got cut off at 16. I forgot. I barely.
No,
missed
you were the group that was 16. The next year they changed it back to 18.
it. Right. So I missed it.
Yeah,
Because
so
I had an
Taylor's-
adult license when I was 17.
Yeah, my daughter's
Actually-
16 and she had to buy an adult
Right,
license.
actually, when I was 16.
Oh, you already bought him?
That's
yeah,
stupid.
as an adult.
Dude, that's garbage. I don't.
That's stupid.
It is stupid.
Yeah.
But anyways, all right. Well, I appreciate you coming down. You got a little bit of a drive to come down. Did you work all day?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Only 13 hours today. No.
Oh, that's it. Lazy bum. This guy works like a crazy maniac. But anyways, well, thanks for coming on. And if you guys want to check out some YouTube videos of duck hunts, me and Harrison did a whole series in Nebraska with High Prairie Sportsman for early teal season. It was a blast. So it's there in the, what would that be, 1920 playlist, waterfowl playlist, if you want to check it out. And I'm sure you'll see him. Hopefully, if I can ever get this guy to come around.
Yeah. We need to go
Hopefully-
fishing. We need to do some more fishing videos.
I'm ready, man. I'm waiting.
I'm ready. I
I don't
got
got
the
a boat
done.
anymore. I
I
sold
got
all-
the boat done.
Oh, did you?
I got the,
Got the purple Cajun's gone.
got the
so.
carpet done and everything. We're ready to go.
Nice. Well, let's try to get on some hunts. You guys will see them on there too. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys on the next one.